So I just wanted to create a quick little podcast to finish out this portion of the project, and the questions that I have left are what kind of data can we get from blogs in terms of student products, and how can we use those student products to drive instruction. So we're out here on a trip. We're touring all over the state of West Virginia right now. We have some teachers with us, and we are wanting them to experience some things out here, and the topics that we're studying is the rail industry and the forest industry. So we've been out all morning. We're going to be out the rest of this week, and we're going to certain places where they're experiencing things that they teach about all the time, but they may have never experienced firsthand. And a big part of the project is student blogs. And so I have with me one of the leaders on the project. His name's Steve Beckelhimer, and he's a professor at Marshall University, and I've asked him to kind of address some of the top topics for this afternoon. So Steve, can you tell us, when we do blogs with the groups, what are some of the data that you hope to get back from that?
How I think about blogs is really very little different than how we thought about student essays a generation ago. A blog is really just a student essay, and in some ways you can assess it in the same ways that you would assess any open-ended writing experience. You could have a checklist, you can have a rubric, you can set criteria for these are things that must be in the blog, but I prefer to have things more open-ended, to say, here's your purpose for that blog. Mm-hmm. Now you compose that essay. If you look at the word blog, it comes from web log. Mm-hmm. So you compose that blog entry to meet that criteria. And how you choose to do that is entirely up to you. So we leave it very open-ended. Another big difference in a traditional essay that I might have used at the beginning of my teaching career is that I can allow those people to use a variety of multimedia. Instead of going out, as our generation may have done, and plagiarizing and copying text from something, I can put a link to it. Mm-hmm. So I have, crediting those sources, I can take images that I have shot with inexpensive cameras. The resolution on the image in a blog entry, the cheapest camera could put an image up there of the quality that you would be suitable for a blog entry. So you can really allow that open-ended expression. How I might express something might be best done with text. You may be able to do that best with a photograph. Right. Someone else may be able to use a short film clip. Mm-hmm. So however we choose to do that, so it really broadens our ability to get at what we want to see. What doesn't change is, this is my goal.
Right. Well, the flip side of that would be, once you have this data, think about it from on our project, we're taking teachers out. So what we're thinking about is, how can the teachers model that so that when they do blogging assignments with kids, that they have an example to go by. So how would you imagine that the blogs that the teachers are creating here, how do you think that might drive instruction in their classroom?
A lot of it is in the variety. Many of us are doing the blogs as just an instructional resource. It's like a reference thing. And instead of having students read about things, we saw this. The teacher smelled it, they touched it, they experienced that, and can convey that to their students. But we also have some people, and I mentioned one in our morning session, that are using that blog as a place to put thought-provoking questions. And the questions that we're seeing out there on those blogs are higher level sort of questions. It'll provide a student with some links. Go to these places, read what you're seeing here, watch this YouTube video, experience these things, and compare what you saw in the forest here and in the forest here, and almost as writing prompts for the students. And those could be things that the blog entry that the teacher has could stimulate a traditional paper and pencil writing in their logbook or their journals, or it could be something that would stimulate a student blog entry.
Right.
So tremendous potential.
I think so too, and that's the reason I'm happy to have this portion of the assignment. And I think this project wouldn't be what it is without the blogs. So yeah, thanks for the information.